Power scaling does not necessarily provide the information regarding the result of a fight. It only provides the scale of characters based on their extensive power, and for doing so it requires a lot of assumptions. Therefore, sometimes even if a character scales higher, he might still lose to the enemy character due to many external and internal reasons in a real fight. For an example, let's take a fight between Murphy's Law and any Outerversal level character. Murphy's Law, also known as SCP-3143, is an intrafictional construct. When active, this construct exhibits the ability to temporarily flatten portions of reality into a script-like narrative. And due to this narrative-based hacks that it possesses, it can take on characters well above its scale and defeat them with ease. SCP-3143 scales even below the lowest possible tier in the scaling system and is below zero-dimensional range, but it still can defeat beings of Tier 1A, which scale far higher than it. To understand this better, let's take an easier fight. To understand, let's take Gojo versus Naruto. We all know in terms of strength, speed, durability, destructive capability, and attack potency, Naruto is far higher than Gojo easily. But when it comes to hacks, Gojo gets carried hard by it, to the point that in this fight he has a high chance of winning. It doesn't matter if Naruto has comparatively better feats regarding strength, speed, durability, or other physical capabilities. If he can't land the hit on Gojo, then the entire point of this whole stats is reduced to zero. So in this kind of comparisons, scaling cannot provide a victor of the fight. There are many other things, except for hacks, which could alter the result of a fight. It could be the place, time, and all the spatio-temporal reasons. Sometimes categories like experience and intelligence could also change the outcome of a fight against someone who scales higher. And sometimes, even writing of characters can be the reason of difference. For example, let's take a controversial fight, Saitama versus Goku. Now most of us know that Goku nearly performs better than Saitama in every class according to feats and scale, all together with a currently higher scalable cosmology. So in terms of scaling, for now at least, Goku is higher. But the thing is, Saitama is written in a way which makes it seem like it is just not possible for a character to defeat him in a fight, especially against someone like Goku, who is immortal, and even though a supernatural being, he still is not completely illogical power-holding character. Goku still has a realistic growth pattern and far more realistic in comparison to Saitama, whereas Saitama's reasoning of his powers and growth are illogical and at some point unscalable due to fallacies. Moreover, even if Goku were to throw a punch which could destroy an entire universe, which is far higher than anything Saitama has ever taken in the entire series, I don't see him killing Saitama with it at all. I just can't imagine him being affected by an attack of large-scale physical level damage. It's his writing as near-invincible character which makes the possibility of him being affected by a higher scale of attack seem kind of impossible to happen, even though if we were to see a scale difference then for sure Goku is higher. But in terms of a realistic fight happening between them, I just don't see Saitama losing at all, due to his writing. So the point I am trying to make from these examples are that scaling-based comparisons runs on a lot of assumptions regarding the internal and external factors, not interfering the battle. So without considering these factors, the fight becomes less realistic and becomes more of like a strict statistical point of view, which mainly only focuses on scale of characters and gives victory to the one higher in scale. This also decreases the possibilities which may occur in a fight, and it also does not side with the weaker side, and only portrays the chance of victory for the stronger side. Scaling in Tier 0 is also a lot complicated, as these characters are mostly meant to be the strongest and are incomparable to others, with no weakness and complete omnipotence, omniscience, and omnipresence, whereas scaling strips them off of their position for comparisons. Omnipotence is considered as a fallacy, their limitless powers fall under no-limit fallacy, their authorities are taken away from them, and they are considered just as any other character, for the purpose of scaling properly and fairly. But by this, we are ruining the entire point of the character. And also, scaling cannot represent their true forms, as it would simply lead to errors in the process of comparisons, hence the comparisons are done between watered-down versions of these characters. Hence, scaling at this level is kind of pointless, as it simply won't give the result of an actual fight happening between these level of entities. It is just a what-if-based comparison which focus more on theories than the actual stats, as mostly all these beings have max stats. So an outcome of a real fight between these entities would lead to creation of paradoxes, which is completely above our understanding. So scaling doesn't necessarily portray the result of a fight, but it can be helpful for visualizing these fights. And based on the way it used, it could be helpful in finding the outcome of a fight. But for that, the user of the scale should also apply a bit of knowledge on their side with logic, all along with consideration of some of the assumptions for finding results of a fight in a realistic fight between two random characters of certain scale of power.